What's up, everybody? My name is Vincent. Welcome to Cryptolution, where we talk about everything under the moon, the crypto universe. Today is Monday, October 16th. Today is my second video because I want to share with you a really important video regarding Bitcoin. Right now, Bitcoin is at 28,000, but it did hit a price point of around 29,000. Now, over the past 7 days, if you haven't noticed, Bitcoin has been doing some really great price volatility action. We've seen it roughly yesterday around 27,000. But now, could we expect Bitcoin to hit a price point by 2030 at around 200,000 or $1.4 million per Bitcoin? That's what I want to talk about in this video, and we also have to talk about why Bitcoin did pump to 29,000. I cannot wait to share it with you in this video, but you have to stick around to the very end to hear my conclusion and statement, because we have to discuss the bullish and bearish case scenario regarding Bitcoin's price action. So with that said, as always, be sure to like the button, subscribe to the channel, don't forget to join our Patreon page, and most importantly, please be careful with any of the scammers down in the comments below. I will never reach out via WhatsApp, Telegram, direct message, or email, so please be careful and invest safely. So guys and girls, let's get right into it. So let's talk about the recent prediction that Crypto, who also owns a YouTube channel, what he started saying. Now, he said that right now we're possibly seeing that Bitcoin's price could break out of this ascending trend because we were forming higher lows in this ascending trend, that it kept testing the resistance line of around $26,000 to $27,000, roughly $27,000 if you round up. So what happened with that price prediction? Well, this is exactly what happened. We saw that Bitcoin, its price literally pumped. Why? Well, specifically, apparently Cointelegraph, which is kind of a reputable news source with everything Bitcoin and crypto related, especially NFTs, that the SEC has approved a BlackRock spot Bitcoin ETF, and that this source is to be determined. But what happened when that did come out regarding the news source? Well, apparently Cointelegraph deletes the post that they had saying that the SEC had approved of this spot Bitcoin ETF by BlackRock, which is very interesting. And then this happened where DGen News said 105 million worth of crypto liquidations had occurred within the past hour. And this is in regards to BlackRock refuting Cointelegraph's report that the SEC had approved of their spot Bitcoin ETF. And then also, Cointelegraph apologized to the public saying that the SEC had approved of a spot Bitcoin ETF applications. And now they're saying that it is now launching an internal investigation that will roughly take around 3 hours to reveal its findings. That's really suspicious. Why? Because if you look at this is from Borovic.eth. He said that Cointelegraph tweets a spot Bitcoin ETF that it was approved from BlackRock. And then all of a sudden, Bitcoin pumps to around 30,000. Then it says that Cointelegraph in turn profits $2.25 million on Rollbit. And then Cointelegraph deletes the tweet, which is very interesting. So this is what we're seeing right here regarding that. Now, we don't know if this is true or not. It could be completely false. But if you look at the timing of this, of when they deleted the tweet and when this was kind of announced regarding Rollbit, well, this is very interesting, especially that Rollbit was actually targeting Cointelegraph regarding that. So we don't know if this is insider trading from a news outlet, which would be absolutely crazy. But again, this is just speculation. This is just rumors. We don't know as of yet. But nonetheless, we're seeing a lot of price action. But we got to talk about why Bitcoin could hit by the year 2030 200,000 to even up to 1.4 million. Because even recently, we saw that the SEC was not going to appeal the court's decision regarding the Grayscale Bitcoin ETF conversion. What does that even mean? Well, I mean, this could be a bullish case scenario in some shape or form, but this does not mean that there is a Grayscale Bitcoin ETF that's been approved, because it hasn't even been converted into a Bitcoin ETF. Right now, Grayscale is wanting to convert their trust into an ETF. That's pretty much all it is, but nonetheless, it's still a win. So right now, what we can see is the spot Bitcoin ETFs now have a 90% chance of being approved. Now, this is based on Bloomberg Analytics. 90% chance is better than 70%, because people really right now are looking at all the ETFs that have been applied for Bitcoin. Now, if you look at here, these are the different hedge funds, family offices, institutions that right now have filed for a Bitcoin ETF application with the SEC, and they're all waiting for the application to be approved. Now, if we just look at some of those assets, let's just look at BlackRock. Is that right now we can expect the first Bitcoin spot ETF to hit the market in the next 60 to 70 days. Here is why. This aligns with his expectations, especially after Grayscale's victory over the SEC regarding their Bitcoin spot ETF conversion. Now, it's anticipated that all spot Bitcoin ETFs will be approved before the final deadline of the first spot Bitcoin ETF application. Who is that first one? Well, it's Cathie Woods from ARK Investment, and they have the earliest deadline on January 10th for their spot Bitcoin ETF. We're going to talk about Cathie Woods and her predictions at the very end of the video because, again, they could be the very first ones to be approved. Now, what Bloomberg also says is that right now, based on their analyst James says that also a spot Bitcoin ETF application is more likely to be approved by January. And also, if we look at some of those different hedge funds, family offices, if you look at the total asset holdings of all these different institutions, roughly it's around 17 million, give or take. And you got to keep in mind that this isn't everybody, right? There could be more money funneling in. And this is just the amount of assets that they hold. So maybe not 17 trillion total, maybe a part of the 17 trillion will go into this whole crypto market. But keep in mind, when we experienced a crypto bull market back in 2021, we saw that roughly we were at a $2 trillion market cap within all of cryptocurrency. So this could be really crazy to see us reach even to the 5 trillion if that were the case. Now, the reason also people are flocking to Bitcoin, because we're seeing that right now US inflation remains at 3.7%, which is higher than any other expectation. And even with the US dollar and also the Argentina peso, it just keeps inflating. Right now, the dollar is worthless. Homes back in the day, at least in 1994, to buy an actual home on the housing market was roughly around 84,000 and higher. Right now, those prices for homes are roughly 300,000 or more. So your dollars are literally decreasing in value over time. And right now we're seeing that 4.5 trillion of asset managers within Fidelity says that Bitcoin is the most secure, decentralized, sound digital money compared to any other digital asset. So rather than putting your money in US dollars, you can either put it in the housing market, into real estate, you can put it into gold, or you can put it into digital gold or a digital asset such as Bitcoin to hold its value, to accrue in value, to fight against the hedge of inflation. Now, if we look at the amount of whales that are accumulating, back on October 14th, 16 new wallets joined the crowd of Bitcoin. Now, these whales now own over 100 to 1,000 Bitcoin. This is the greatest daily increase since February of 2022. Now, that's just that. If we look at people who own 10 or more Bitcoin, we can see that right now it's a historical surge because right now we have addresses around 157,000 that hold those NFTs, 10 or more, which is crazy. The steady growth with over the 20-month growing period has consistently grown time over time again. And again, this is over the whole SEC versus cryptocurrency. No one is bearish with this. I think the smart institutions know. And right now, in terms of hash rates, we're seeing hash rates go through the roof within Bitcoin. And what does this actually mean if you don't really understand it? Well, it's simply this. Now, roughly what that means is that Bitcoin right now has algorithms that every second protect its blockchain from any interference, manipulation. Pretty much right now it's becoming more and more decentralized. And so right now people are flocking to this because it's so heavily decentralized that really no bank can really manipulate the price. That really, it's just kind of what happens after every halving event. We do know that the next Bitcoin halving event is happening in April of 2024. And this is why all the spot Bitcoin ETF applications from all these different institutions are trying to get theirs approved before then. So that's why it's the race to get there. And if we look at CoinShares, everybody's flocking to either Bitcoin, Ethereum, or Solana. That's the amount of inflows that we're seeing in terms of the weekly inflows. In terms of the monthly, kind of the same thing. Bitcoin right now is dominating in that space. Now that you stuck around to the very end of the video, you want to hear what we're going to expect for Bitcoin's price. How much will Bitcoin be by 2030? Some people predict, like, say for instance, MicroStrategy CEO Michael Saylor, who is a huge Bitcoin bull, he only cares about Bitcoin, he doesn't care about anything else. He says that right now we could expect, if there's a spot Bitcoin ETF that's going to be approved, we could expect Bitcoin to 10x or even 100x depending per coin. So that's roughly around 270,000 in his point of view up to 2.7 million per coin. Now, the last thing I want to share with you is Cathie Woods. She also thought by 2030 that really the bearish case scenario is that right now Bitcoin could be around 258,000 to even in the most bullish case, $1.48 million per Bitcoin. And this is why it's so important to have at least one Bitcoin. And this last slide should show you exactly why you should remain bullish. At this peak, we're right here at the very, very moment. If we look at every other Bitcoin halving event that happens every 4 years, we can see that 2020, we saw that Bitcoin's price went from around 8,000 to 60,000. Back in 2016, we saw Bitcoin's price roughly around underneath $400 and pumped all the way almost up to $8,000. Back in 2012, we saw that Bitcoin's price was, can you believe this, roughly around $5, went up to over $100. So where could Bitcoin's price be in the next Bitcoin halving event, or even a spot Bitcoin ETF being approved, or even by 2030? Well, regardless, what we can see right now, we're roughly around 28,000 per Bitcoin. What we could expect again is that right now we could reach around 200,000 or higher to around 440,000 in the bearish case scenario. And this is just based on historical data, everybody. This is Bitcoin's price action. Now, ladies and gentlemen, that's everything in a nutshell. Can Bitcoin hit over 200,000 before April in terms of the Bitcoin halving event of 2024? Or could it hit that price because of a spot Bitcoin ETF being approved by January for either ARK Invest or any other hedge fund or institution? And also, could we reach 1.4 million or even up to 2 million per Bitcoin by 2030? Well, I want to hear your thoughts down below, and I cannot wait to read them. So with that said, be sure to like up the button, subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to join our Patreon page to receive all of our alpha calls and buy and sell orders on both NFTs and cryptocurrencies, especially Bitcoin. And with that said, we'll see you guys and girls next time.